How to eat sustainably. One of the main things you can change on a daily basis to help our climate is what you eat. Because what you buy in the store determines your carbon footprint, how much you ask from the planet's resources. Important to mention is that eating sustainably is not the same as the healthiest diet. But it isn't really difficult to combine the sustainable and healthy dishes. Now that we know what we are talking about, I can discuss the main question of the video. How does our food influence our climate and how can we change it? The way our food influences our climate can be divided into multiple categories. These categories are farming equipment, food processing, packaging, livestock, and international transport. All these categories make up an estimate of 37% of all carbon emitted on our planet. The main ones being livestock and transport. Another important category is deforestation, but I will discuss that at the end of the video. Let's start off with livestock, because eating less meat is not only good for animal welfare, but also for reducing greenhouse emissions. As you can see in this pie chart, 14.5% of all emissions on our entire planet comes from livestock, and beef is the greater emitter of them all, because these guys emit CO2 and methane, an even more powerful greenhouse gas. Already changing from beef to chicken reduces your greenhouse gas output by 90%. An interesting picture I found was this one about beef. It shows all ingredients of a burger, sized to their carbon output. Now you can really see what the impact of beef really is. On top of those emissions are transport emissions. Exotic fruits, vegetables, or coffee beans, rice, wine, you can get almost any product you want from all over the world. The climatic problem with this is that all this transport emits a lot of CO2, and as you know, that warms up our planet. The three biggest exporters are the USA, the Netherlands and Germany. However, I personally don't think transport has to change that much if we make the transition to electrical vehicles. However, these technical advantages aren't made yet, and we will have to wait a few years for that to happen. Until that time, I advise everyone to eat more food from your own countries. This simply reduces transport emissions. The third point of discussion is food waste. Between harvest and finishing your meal, 1/3 of the original harvest has been thrown away, or not even reached the stores after all. For example, these cucumbers. Their taste is no different to a normal one, but its shape is not what we are used to see. Another example are these tomatoes. They are not perfectly round, so they are thrown away. Even restaurants have quite a bit of food waste due to an excess of food after serving dinners. There are luckily initiatives like Too Good To Go. This is an app that wants to reduce food waste in restaurants. This gives restaurants the ability to sell surplus food to customers for a discount instead of throwing it away. To summarize, the main problems are livestock, transport, plastics, which I haven't discussed yet but will in a minute, and food waste. The solutions to these problems are as follows. Eat less meat to reduce CO2 and methane emissions. Eat food from your own country's production to reduce transport emissions. And don't choose the newest expiring date in the supermarket, because a lot of food in supermarkets is wasted because customers want to buy the freshest items, even if they eat it within 2 days. Those were the actions you can take as an individual, but industries and governments need to change much as well. They need to reduce plastic waste, because so much plastic ends up in our oceans that it kills our oceans. There are new innovations which could replace classic plastics. An innovation that came out this week was using seaweed. Seaweed is both biodegradable and looks and feels similar to classic plastics. Innovations on other research fields are also in development. Indoor vertical farming is one of them, using less space to farm more crops. By using this technique, you have all control over your crops. You have control over all sorts of things, like light levels, water levels, the amount of nutrition in the soil, and you have more control over the amount of pesticides on your crops. On top of that, genetic modification will be a lot easier, because as a researcher you know more about the plant than plants grown in the field. The Netherlands is in front in this field of research, and that can be seen in their export numbers. $94 billion a year. Only the United States exports more than the Netherlands, and that for a country as small as the Netherlands. Using vertical farming instead of horizontal farming gives room for more wildlife and biodiversity, which is essential for our planet's existence. Planting trees to absorb our carbon and reverse climate change. This is the end of the video. As you may have noticed, I haven't discussed seafood in this video. I will make a dedicated video to that in the future, because I think that deserves more attention. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you change your meals to reduce your carbon footprint on this planet. Examples of recipes can be read in the description. See you in the next video.